Scientists in a secret underground facility once believed that chemical fertilizers were unbeatable. For decades, they were the gold standard, the backbone of modern agriculture. Billions of dollars, billions of tons of crops, and billions of lives depended on them. But then, inside a hidden laboratory nicknamed Invenacy Crypt, something happened that no one expected. A group of scientists ran a test that changed everything. They lined up two sets of plants, one fed with the most advanced chemical fertilizer in existence, and the other treated with a mysterious natural formula. The results? Within days, the natural plants exploded with growth. Stronger, greener, healthier, while the chemical-fed plants lagged behind. By the end of this video, you'll know the shocking truth, the hidden formula that outperforms billion-dollar chemical industries. And why the world was never meant to know about it. For over a century, humanity has leaned heavily on chemical fertilizers. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the NPK formula, has been the cornerstone of global farming. These industrial chemicals are spread across millions of acres of farmland every single day. Without them, the world's food supply would collapse. But here's the part no one talks about. These chemicals don't just grow crops. They poison rivers. They strip soil of life. They weaken ecosystems. And while corporations pocket billions in profit, farmers are trapped in an endless cycle of dependency. Every season, they must buy more. Every year, the soil gets weaker. And every decade, the cost skyrockets. It's a system designed not for sustainability, but for profit. And here's the shocking twist: nature already had the answers all along. Answers that don't just match chemical fertilizers, but outperform them. The story begins in the mysterious underground lab known as Invenacy Crypt. To the outside world, it was just another research facility. But inside, experiments were being conducted that threatened to upend the entire agricultural industry. One evening, a young scientist, let's call her Dr. Marin, noticed something odd. During a trial, she applied a natural fertilizer mix, derived from compost and seaweed, to a row of test crops. Side by side, she planted identical crops treated with premium chemical fertilizers supplied by a major corporation. At first, everyone expected the chemical crops to surge ahead. After all, that's what they were designed to do. But within 2 weeks, Dr. Marin noticed something unusual. The natural crops weren't just keeping up, they were pulling ahead. By the 4th week, the difference was undeniable. The natural crops grew nearly 40% faster, with leaves richer in color, roots stronger and deeper, and resistance to pests noticeably higher. Meanwhile, the chemical crops showed signs of stress, yellowing edges, weaker stems, and higher susceptibility to disease. Dr. Marin was stunned. She repeated the experiment. And again, the results came back the same. Natural fertilizer wasn't just working. It was dominating. And when her colleagues saw the results, they couldn't believe their eyes. "This changes everything," one whispered. "If this gets out, the chemical industry is finished." The more the team at Invenacy Crypt studied this phenomenon, the more shocking truths they uncovered. It wasn't just one formula. Nature had been hiding an entire arsenal of fertilizers, each with power that rivaled, or even surpassed, the world's most expensive chemicals. First, they looked at vermicompost, the rich organic matter created by earthworms. Packed with nitrogen, phosphorus, and essential microbes, it didn't just feed plants, it healed the soil itself. Farmers who used vermicompost noticed that their crops became more resistant to pests, and their soil grew richer year after year, instead of weaker. Then came the discovery of Seaweed Extract. On the surface, it looked simple, just dried and processed marine plants. But inside, it was bursting with natural growth hormones, cytokinins, auxins, gibberellins. These compounds triggered plants to grow faster, stronger, and more resilient, increasing yields by nearly 15% compared to synthetic fertilizers. But the real shock came when the scientists tested biochar combined with compost. The results were almost unbelievable. The crops treated with this mixture grew up to 40% faster, with deeper roots and improved drought resistance. Even after harvest, the soil retained more nutrients and water than any chemically treated plot. It wasn't just a fertilizer, it was a long-term investment in the land. And then came the forgotten heroes of agriculture, legumes like alfalfa and clover. For centuries, farmers had quietly used these plants as green manure, plowing them back into the soil. But in the lab, scientists realized just how powerful they really were. Alfalfa, with its deep taproots, works like nature's drilling machine. It pulls minerals from deep underground and delivers them to the topsoil. More importantly, its partnership with rhizobium bacteria allows it to capture nitrogen directly from the air. When alfalfa decomposes, it releases this nitrogen, turning the soil into a natural fertilizer factory. The results stunned the researchers. Fields where alfalfa had been grown produced crops so rich, so abundant, that they outperformed fields treated with expensive synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. And unlike chemicals, there was no toxic runoff, no poisoned water, no damage to the ecosystem. Just clean, natural fertility. Finally, they tested mycorrhizal fungi, microscopic allies that live in the roots of plants. These fungi expand the plant's reach, allowing it to absorb water and nutrients far more efficiently than roots alone. With their help, plants absorbed phosphorus and nitrogen at record levels, becoming healthier, stronger, and nearly immune to drought. As one scientist whispered in disbelief, "This is what shocked us the most. Nature never needed our chemicals. The answers were always here, hidden in plain sight." But here's the part that no one outside Invenacy Crypt was ever supposed to hear. When the scientists compiled their data, they realized the implications were earth-shattering. Natural fertilizers, earthworms, seaweed, biochar, alfalfa, fungi, weren't just alternatives. They were superior. If farmers switched, global agriculture could slash costs, repair ecosystems, and outproduce chemical farming on a massive scale. And that's exactly what terrified the industry. You see, the global fertilizer market is worth over $200 billion a year. Giant corporations control it, companies that thrive on selling chemical formulas season after season. They don't make money if soil regenerates itself. They don't profit if farmers use plants like alfalfa to naturally capture nitrogen from the air. And they certainly don't want biochar or compost, solutions that can last for decades, replacing products that farmers must rebuy every year. So what did they do? According to insiders, the results from studies like those inside Invenacy Crypt were quietly buried. Funding was cut. Papers were shelved. Whistleblowers were silenced. Some reports even suggest that corporations launched aggressive campaigns to discredit natural fertilizers, branding them as inefficient, unscientific, or too risky for large-scale farming. But the truth couldn't be hidden forever. Leaked data showed yields skyrocketing when farmers embraced these natural solutions. Photos of fields treated with alfalfa green manure went viral in underground forums. And slowly, a movement began, farmers sharing secrets, swapping natural formulas, and defying the chemical giants. One scientist put it bluntly: if this knowledge spreads, chemical fertilizer companies could lose billions overnight. That's why they fight so hard to keep it locked away. And this is where the real conspiracy unfolds. It's not just about agriculture. It's about control. The same companies lobbying governments, influencing universities, and shaping public policy have one goal: to keep farmers dependent. To ensure every planting season begins with another purchase order. To make sure nature's free solutions remain hidden, while the world pays the price. But here's the shocking irony: the very plants and microbes these corporations ignore may be the key to saving humanity. In a world facing climate change, food insecurity, and environmental collapse, the secrets buried in natural fertilizers could mean the difference between scarcity and abundance. The question is, will the truth break through, or will the corporations succeed in burying it forever? If a simple earthworm can create a fertilizer more powerful than billion-dollar chemicals. If a humble plant like alfalfa can capture nitrogen from the air and feed entire fields for free. If seaweed, compost, fungi, and biochar can transform dead soil into thriving ecosystems. Then what else are we not being told? For decades, corporations have claimed that chemicals are the only way to feed the planet. But the truth is clear: nature already gave us the solutions. They were here long before the factories, long before the synthetic bags, long before the billions in profit. And that's what shocks scientists the most, not just the results, but the realization that humanity was tricked into ignoring them. Think about it: farmers could save fortunes, ecosystems could heal, rivers could run clean again, and communities could thrive without dependence on toxic chemicals. Yet, the knowledge was hidden, dismissed, and suppressed, all to keep a broken system alive. So I'll ask you, would you rather trust corporations? Or trust nature itself? Because the evidence is undeniable. Natural fertilizers don't just work. They work better. They're cleaner, safer, and more sustainable. And if enough people discover this truth, the old system could crumble overnight. but that depends on you. If you believe the world deserves to know these secrets, share this video. Spread the truth they don't want you to hear. And subscribe now, because the next discovery might be even more shocking than this one. Remember, the soil doesn't lie. Nature never needed our chemicals. And maybe, just maybe, it's time we stop needing them too.